Good day to all of you, and welcome to this session on offloading the diabetes foot. I would like to introduce the team for today. I'm Nihal Thomas. I belong to the Department of Endocrinology, Diabetes and Metabolism from Christian Medical College, Vellore. On my left, I have Associate Professor Felix Debasing, who also will expound on these aspects. Mrs. Bharati, who has 12 years experience in the aspects of offloading the diabetes foot, and Mrs. Flory, who's also a diabetes educator who's well versed in these areas. So let me tell you about the format of this workshop. This is going to be a case-based workshop, and we are going to be focusing on 4 real-life patients. And our team over here will discuss all 4 of these patients. So let me introduce the first patient over here. This is a 55-year-old man who's had diabetes over the last 9 years and has developed an ulcer over the forefoot following barefoot walking. This is his 3rd visit to hospital. His examination reveals sensory and motor neuropathy, and he has had previous pan-retinal photocoagulation for his eyes. His vision at present is 6/60. So, Mrs. Bharati, what are the characteristic features of an ideal footwear for a patient with diabetes having neuropathy or without neuropathy?
An ideal footwear which is prescribed for diabetic patient is microcellular rubber footwear. The microcellular rubber is made up of 15 chemicals where millions of air pockets are introduced into the rubber material, which gives a cushioning effect. These are the components of a microcellular rubber footwear, where it has got a thick outer sole, whereby this prevents any kind of foreign objects or foreign materials which can pierce and enter through it. The insole is made up of microcellular rubber where the pressure is distributed evenly. It has got a back strap to compensate for intrinsic muscle strength paralysis, and it has got an adjustable front strap. This is made up of velcro material. This will compensate for any kind of drussings or neuropathic edema. We usually check the rubber hardness of the footwear by using an instrument called as the durometer. The durometer is placed on the insole of the footwear. Once this is placed, this is measured in Shore value A. An ideal footwear should give a value between 8 to 15. Lesser than 8 means the insole is very soft, where this can cause some kind of problems to the patient when they walk. The harder it is, patient has more chances of developing higher pressures, and thereby they can develop callosities.
So Dr. Felix, what exactly do you mean by the term offloading?
Yeah, so when you see a patient with diabetes foot ulcer, we need to remember that what is the kind of neuropathy they have. And we already know from this patient has motor and sensory neuropathy. That means there is definitely an uneven pressure distribution across the foot. As Bharati mentioned, this footwear for diabetes ideally should be equalize the pressure across. So, and we can see that it's normally the patients, if they come to your clinic, you will tend to see predominantly an anterior foot ulcer, and secondly, they can have the midfoot ulcer, and the hindfoot ulcer can be quite remote to up to 1 to 5%. Coming on to this patient, you can see this gentleman has an forefoot ulcer and also had an amputation in the past, and this means that patient is having high risk foot, and this is an anterior or a forefoot ulcer, and this gentleman was given an footwear in the past, where you can see that it's a worn out footwear, and also the footwear he was given for the other limb, you can see this is a worn out footwear, wherein he was given an anterior wedge which has been come off from the inner sole. So this is a typical worn out footwear, and this is the footwear which he was prescribed, which is a replica of the footwear, where you can see there is wedge in the anterior part, and so it's called anterior wedge. This anterior wedge should be prescribed to a patient if the patient has a forefoot ulcer, or in other words an anterior foot ulcer. If you see the international guidelines, it mentions that the patient has to be given a total contact cast or a knee level cast for the complete offloading. But however, in Indian setting, you may not be able to prescribe to all the patient, because patient may not like to wear all the time their cast when they go for a walk. So that is why you need to do a simple modification in the footwear, which is called a wedge if it is an anterior foot ulcer, so that the patient can completely offload from the floor so that the ulcer heals, which is a simple offloading technique. Once this patient ulcer heals, the patient has to be, prevention should be advocated so that the ulcer does not recur again. So in those setting, you need to give what is called an anterior rocker, which may not be similar to a wedge. You can see the wedge is there is more offloading than the anterior rocker. So this anterior rocker helps in further prevention of forefoot ulcer, which the patient has to be continuous to use further.
So Dr. Felix, that's all very well. But in a resource poor setting like India, what other options do you have, and what else can you manufacture rapidly to help your patient?
In countries like India, so we may not be able to prescribe an anterior rocker and an anterior wedge in view of a manufacturing problem. So in those cases, if you have a footwear which is a show value between 8 to 15 and you are still able to offload it, you can use a simple method called metatarsal bar. Before giving a metatarsal bar, you need to remember that all this patient has motor and sensory neuropathy. So that means you cannot prescribe metatarsal ball by fixing the metatarsal ball inside in the inner sole. The problem is they may come back with a foot ulcer because they may be having a clawing or a mallet toe or a hammer toe, which further worsens the foot ulcer. So all the patients who comes with an anterior foot ulcer, if you want to use a metatarsal ball, it's better to keep the metatarsal bar over the outer sole, so that you just need to fix it, and so that you can actually have a pseudo anterior wedge, not maybe similar to the wedge, but however you can fix it this way so that you can still offload an anterior foot ulcer. So even if you don't have an anterior rocker or a metatarsal bar, in this patient, if you can say that if you are prescribing this footwear, so just imagine that this particular ulcer is over this area, where you just need to scoop the rubber a little bit like this, where you are actually making a little void here, so which can be a kind of an offloading for this patient if you have a real resource poor setting. Another offloading technique which you may advocate in your setting is then a clog. A clog is nothing but wherein you can see here there is an plywood or a wood which is fixed in the outer sole, and also there is a double layer outer sole. So it is actually highly durable, but it is not flexible. So that is why it is not being used frequently nowadays, but definitely this also can be used as an offloading technique if the patient comes with an forefoot ulcer, in addition to your scoop, which is very easy to do, but however may not be a complete offloading for a patient what you expect, but it may not replace this other techniques, but definitely in a resource poor setting you still could use this as an offloading technique.
So Florrie, if unfortunately this patient had a ray amputation, how would you offload the foot after the period of surgery?
So when this patient has a ray amputation, there are two important things that we might have to look at. So this patient is going to be having a fresh wound there, which might require a long-term dressings. So this is a footwear modification which is made in such a way that it has got a broader strap with cushion pads there. This is actually called a surgical shoe, which is designed in such a way that it can actually accommodate the dressing within the footwear itself. So it has got a good heel counter, so that it is providing adequate support for the patient when they are walking around. The second thing is that initially this patient might have to be completely taken off the ground, meaning to say that we teach them not to put their foot down at all. So an ideal thing would be is to use a walker in case the patient is able to walk around. So this person will be having a footwear which is a surgical shoe on the area which is called the ulcer, and this patient is going to use a walker where he'll be taught how to offload completely off the ground. So he's not going to put this particular feet that has the ulcer off on the ground at all. So when the person is able to kind of accommodate to this for some time and the wound healing is better, they can be shifted on to the other areas of offloading as well.
So let me introduce our second patient to you. This is a 62-year-old gentleman who's had diabetes mellitus for 12 years and also has presence of sensory neuropathy. He also had a ulcer which was bilateral on both feet on the posterior aspect. Subsequently, the ulcer healed and he developed a residual callosity. So Felix, can you tell us briefly as to the implications and the presence of a callosity on the foot?
So, in a patient with a callosity, that means there is an uneven pressure distribution with an extra pressure in one of the areas, such as in this patient has a posterior callosity, which is very uncommon, because if you look at the distribution of foot ulcer, the posterior foot ulcer is quite uncommon. And also in this patient, as already mentioned, this gentleman was given a footwear where you can see the posterior wedge. So as I already mentioned, the international standard guidelines mentioned about total contact costs, and in Indian setting, a total contact cost may not be viable technique for all the patient. So a simple modification which is called a posterior rocker, which is just an opposite of an anterior rocker or an anterior wedge. So this is a posterior wedge where you can see this, there is offloading from the ground here, and also this patient had bilateral posterior foot ulcer following a barefoot walking, and so this patient was prescribed bilateral posterior wedge, and after using for 2 months you can see this gentleman has come back with a callosity. So the callosity means that still this gentleman has a uneven pressure distribution with extra pressure on the posterior aspect of the foot. So this callosity is a root cause for another foot ulcer in the future. So I would like to ask Bharati to remove the callosity, because callosity is nothing but an extra keratinization in the particular area because of abnormal pressure. So now we will be demonstrating the callosity removal, and subsequently we will be talking about the other aspect in this patient. Now you can see after a good debridement of the callosity, you can see that this gentleman still has a small ulcer, maybe of 0.5 centimeter in the posterior aspect of the foot. So this warrants and still a posterior wedge or a rocker to be continued still the ulcer heals. So that is the implication that the callosity has to be removed in all patients with diabetes foot ulcer. And also had to be mentioned that this gentleman has clawed toes, and this can be a problem in future because this gentleman can develop an ulcer in the tip of the toe, which could be a detrimental also. So in this kind of problem you can use something called a toe cap, wherein you just need to put over the toes, so that may not be called as offloading, but definitely it helps in prevention of a future foot ulcer. So I would call this an offloading technique. Toe is straightened and there is a cushioning effect in the tip of the toes. And also in some of the patients, you can see, although in this patient there is a crossing of the toes between the fourth and the fifth toe. So in this kind of a problem, you can use something called a toe separator. We are just fix here, and you can prevent a foot ulcer so that there is no friction between the toes. And so a simple toe cap and a toe separator can help in the prevention of foot ulcer in this patient with a clawing or a crossing of the toes.
So let's go on to our third patient. This is a gentleman with classical Charcot's arthropathy. Take a look at the foot. You can see loss of the arch, a deep ulcer over here, and if you look at the medial aspect, you can see that there's a loss of the arch and the prominence and the edema over here medially as well as laterally. Over to Felix, who will tell us more about this aspect.
So this gentleman came to us in 2019, wherein he had a clinical feature suggestive of Charcot's, and we took an X-ray during that time, and you can see this gentleman has loss of arches of foot and also had the subtalar joint dislocated and also displacement of the posterior displacement of the calcaneum. Can see here, and so this accounts for stage 3, 4 and 5 Charcot's arthropathy.
When a patient has Charcot foot disability, we need to check whether the patient's ankle joint is stable or unstable. If the ankle joint is unstable, we need to immobilize the foot and the ankle together. So we give a foot appliances called as ankle foot orthosis or ankle fixed orthosis, whereby the ankle joint stability is totally maintained and we are also immobilizing the foot of the patient. The outer material is made up of plastozet, so that this is very rigid. The inner material is made up of EVA material, which is called as ethyl vinyl acetate, so that this forms a very cushioning material for the patient and it doesn't cause any kind of irritation or friction over the patient's skin. And it has got a velcro strap so that it is easily adjustable by the patient, even in case if the patient has got edema. When the ankle joint is stable, we give a material called as molded insole. Molded insole is nothing but it is molded according to the shape of the patient's feet. So when we take the impression of the molded insole, it is as equal as the patient's foot impression. So when the patient is wearing this material, the foot and the footwear doesn't act as two separate units, it acts as same unit and it reduces the pressure in the vulnerable areas. And this molded insole is attached in the patient's footwear. And the durometer value is also the same like an MCR, microcellular rubber footwear value. The value comes between 8 to 15 Shore A.
Thank you, Bharati. So let's get back to the foot once again, and you can see there's this very prominent large ulcer at the base of the Charcot's foot. And if you look at the current X-ray, what it shows you is that the status of the foot per se with regards to the X-rays are more or less the same. Perhaps there's a bit more of sclerosis on the X-ray. And you can see the large mouthed ulcer also at the bottom of the foot. So how would one handle a Charcot's foot with an active foot ulcer? I must address this question to Dr. Felix.
Unlike in patients with sensory and motor neuropathy with a forefoot or midfoot or hindfoot ulcer, this gentleman has a midfoot ulcer. It's going to be challenging to offload this. Considering there is a complete change in the architecture of the foot as seen in the X-rays, and some of the times we may need to do an MRI of the foot to diagnose a Charcot's foot. So when we look at a patient with Charcot's with an foot ulcer, there are various modalities to offload this foot ulcer. One of the predominant modality we usually use is a total contact cause, a TCC with a Bowler iron, wherein you can see there is a 2 iron rod with a hard sole down to offload the area where we will be putting in the cast with a little offload from the ground, so that you will be able to visualize the ulcer through a window, and so that you can inspect the foot ulcer continuously. But however, many patients tend not to use this Bowler iron or total contact cast alone, so we may use crutches. But one of the problem with crutches is in elderly men or women may be having an osteoarthritis in the opposite limb, which make them difficult to use the crutches for a long period, which may end up to 2 to 6 weeks period to completely offload and have a good heal. And so in most of the patients we may use a walker, which we have seen in the first patient. When the patient had ray amputation, he was advised a walker. So similarly you can use a walker to in this patient, but however the patient may not get a complete offloading in terms of healing of the ulcer. So in other ways you can use a wheelchair, but the problem with wheelchair is the patient tend to have a sedentary lifestyle pattern, and that could have an impact in the glycemic control also. So that is why we always prefer for a total contact cast, which can have a good offloading as well as a healing in a patient of this ulcer in the midfoot. Even if the patient has a 4-foot ulcer, total contact cast would be the ideal choice for a healing of the ulcer, which may need to be replaced every 2 weeks, because in this patient there used to be a lot of edema, which make the total contact cast loosen from what it was in the past. So we need to replace it every 2 weeks, and many of our patients we put a window to look at the foot ulcer status. That's very, very important, because some of the patient may have a ooze and some of the patient may have an superimposed infection, which may be a detrimental in the future.
So Florrie, I have a few questions where I'd like to ask you before winding up the session. Firstly, if the ulcer in the patient who had Charcot's healed completely, I would understand that the foot would be pretty unstable. How would you handle this patient?
So as we had discussed, we know that this deformity is going to be on a long term, and once the patient's ulcer heals, they might have to be on an offloading for a lifetime. So this is something that would replace the ankle foot orthosis and the molded insole that Sister Bharti had discussed. So this is an air cast boot which has got a very hard outer sole, which is probably made up of a hard rigid plastic material, and it has got an air pocket inbuilt which can be inflated in such a way that this particular footwear can be accommodated according to the foot deformity the patient has. So this is definitely going to be a very good offloading for patients with Charcot on a lifetime process.
Now Florrie, unfortunately about 50% of patients who have advanced Charcot's foot may undergo an amputation over a period of 5 years. In that case, how would you manage this patient?
So when a patient goes in through an amputation, there is a need of complete offloading in these patients. So we have something called as a PTB bowler, which is designed in such a way that the patient's feet is taken off the ground. So we see that there is a rigid bowler iron which is fixed to a plastic frame where the patient is able to walk over this, where the weight of the patient is borne over the knee. So it is over the patella. So this along goes with a walker or a crutch, so that the patient will be able to walk comfortably with this. So this is custom made and it is made according to the patient's foot.
So Felix, that's absolutely wonderful. We have covered patients in great detail. We have covered several aspects of offloading. And for this audience, I would like you to summarize in an algorithm as to how you would handle offloading.
So this is a simple algorithm prescribing an offloading technique in a patient with diabetes foot ulcer. So consider a patient, whether the patient has a 4-foot ulcer, a mid-foot ulcer or a hind-foot ulcer. So if a patient has a 4-foot ulcer, you might use an anterior rocker or an anterior wedge depending upon your availability. And if you have a setting where you may not be able to modify the footwear to an anterior rocker or a wedge, you could use a scoop or a clog or in fact you might use a metatarsal bar. And if the patient has a midfoot or a hindfoot ulcer, that's going to be a real challenge. So you could use an TCC with a bowler iron, but however patient may not like to use that TCC with the bowler iron, so you could use some midfoot orthosis or a hindfoot orthosis respectively. And when the patient ended up having an amputation, you could use surgical shoe immediately post-op with the walker, or a metatarsal bar associated with the surgical shoes with the walker or without a walker, or an crutches during that brief period of time. And one could also use PTP orthosis, patellar tendon bearing orthosis also can be used, but however there also you have to use a crutch for the stabilization. And once the patient has Charcot's, if the patient has a stable Charcot's with a stable ankle joint, you can use a molded insole. If there is an unstable ankle, you could use air cast boot or an AFO in such a way that you actually offload and prevent a future foot ulcer.
To thank the organizers for this wonderful opportunity, I'd like to thank Felix, Flory and Bharati for joining us today in this session, and I'd be very happy to answer your questions thereafter. Thank you.